Thank you for coming for these sessions. We have some concurrent sessions. Just let me pick this call from Engineer John Funsho Adebayo. Hello? Oh, okay, I'll do that. Studio, he said he's muted. So please unmute him. And I think we need to start the technical session in earnest. And the technical session is that of technical session A, whose the chairman of this session is Engineer John Funsho Adebayo, who is currently online. I'll hand over the mic to him soon. And the co-chair is Engineer Dr. A.T. Suleiman, who is in the house with us here. And we have 3 papers for presentation, as well as we have session discussions afterwards. So I would like the co-chair to come to the high table, while the chairman is going to be speaking on to us virtually. Engineer John Funsho Adebayo, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, and welcome everybody to the 20th edition of the International Conference and Exhibition on Power and Telecommunications. The session is going
Studio, we need some volume, please.
Scheduled. Subject we'll be talking about the electronics, digital signal processing, electrical engineering, and we have 3 speakers as presented. My co-chair is Engineer Dr. A.T. Suleiman, Associates, Engineer Professor Chris Nwabweze, the others that will join. Let me hand over to the co-chair right now to do the physical introduction of the presenters.
Sorry, before the co-chair takes over, I'd like to announce the rapporteurs for this session.
Dr. Sholi.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. No, B is not happening now. Okay. So the rapporteurs for this session are Engineer Dr. Segun Sholi. Are they to come to the, yes. Yes, please come to the high table. Please come to the high table. And Dr. Kazim Ojikutu. Engineer Dr. Kazim Ojikutu and Engineer Professor Chris Nwabweze. Okay. And do we have Engineer Dr. Halima Yakubu in the house? Please come over to the high table. Thank you.
Dr. Kazim Ojikutu. I think we've taken too much time, and I'm sure we want to be done with this session so that we can go and rest. This is the only technical session for today. The remaining will continue tomorrow. So we'll start with the first paper, which is development of a combined clear fuzzy technique for contrast enhancement of medical images by Engineer Dr. Abolaji O. Ilori. Is he in the house? Okay, fine. I think you come and present here, but have you given your presentation to them? Okay, give it to them so that it will be projected. So we have our two rapporteurs, Dr. Halima and Dr. Shegun, for this session. Please, the other presenters for this session should kindly give their presentations to the multimedia team so that we don't have to, waste time when we get to their presentations. Engineer Dr. Abolaji, we are still waiting. Once you give them the presentation, you can just come forward and begin the presentation. Okay, have you given to them? Okay, good. So, Engineer Dr. Abolaji, you have 15 minutes to present, and then we'll have 5 to 10 minutes for comments, questions, and answers. So kindly try to make your presentation within 15 minutes, please. Thank you. All right, the Deputy President wants to make... Okay, yeah, I think that's very important. So I'll hand over the mic to the Deputy President. If you remember earlier, the President mentioned while making his speech earlier in the morning today that the papers are going to be rated. So we have developed a rating criteria which the Deputy President is going to explain. So I like to beg your indulgence to kindly listen to the criteria so that, to be fair to people, so that if you are going to be assessed or, scored, you should know the basis of your score before you start, the process. So I hand over the mic to the Deputy President.
Like I said, we want to be fair in our assessment. That's why I don't want to make it something like a secret. And I want to create the indulgence of my past presidents who are here, Engineer Demikoton, Engineer Rabiu, and Dr. Mrs. Mafimidiwo. I think, so please take note of this assessment criteria and be able to give fair scores to these people as they are presenting here. These are the scales. Problem definition, 13%. We have problem of printing, but I will still struggle to see how to get to you, but you can be taking note. Problem definition is 15%. Then technical innovation is 15%. Methodology is 15%. We have scale of 1 to 5 for the score. Benchmarking, 10%. In performance improvement, 10%. References, 5%. Conclusion, 5%. Originality, 10%. I'll print it very soon. Data integrity, 10%. And presentation, 5%. I will see what to do quickly to get these things across to us. Or should I? And I'm trying to send it. The network here is very bad. So I'll quickly do that now. But since we have an idea, we can. So thank you very much. No, I've sent it. The network is not going. Thank you. You have it now. Okay. Somebody else will also try it.
Okay, thank you very much. So the assessors, I don't know if you've gotten what the Deputy President said. There are 10 different areas. So ideally, it was supposed to have been printed so that you'll be given the printout, and then you are going to be imputing the numbers. So at the end of the day, it's just to multiply by some factors, and then we get the total score. So if that is done for all the papers, then at the end of the day, the person with the highest score gets the prize for the best paper. So I'm sure the Deputy President is working on that, but in order for us not to delay, the presentation will kickstart. We've already lost a lot of time. So Engineer Dr. Abolaji, kindly go ahead with your presentation. You have 15 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the chairman, the past presidents present here this afternoon, fellow engineers, good afternoon once again. My name is Engineer Abolaji O. Ilori, and I want to present a paper on development of bimodal technique for medical image contrast enhancement. Medical imaging technologies have become an important part of clinical workflow because they can reveal anatomical and physiological details that would otherwise be inaccessible to inspection, resulting in accurate image, biomarkers, and therapeutic useful information. A variety of phenomena, such as noise and partial volume effects, might limit the efficiency of medical imaging procedures by interfering with the measuring processes involved in imaging and data gathering devices. The physiological characteristics of the bodily components under inquiry, as well as the processes utilized in medical imaging, may affect image contrast and details. It is very important to improve the appearance and visual quality of medical images because they are crucial and critical to providing clinicians with critical information that would not be visible in the original image, supporting them in anomaly identification, diagnosis, and treatment. Errors in this diagnostic and therapeutic decision-making can have a big influence on patients' care, especially if they result in misdiagnosis. We have seen situations where these images were wrongly interpreted, and when they were wrongly interpreted, they can have a big influence on the decision that the clinician is making on the patient. There are many different medical imaging techniques that we are used to, and these are used to examine probably the internal anatomy of the patient. We have the X-ray, we have the CT scan, we have the MRI scan, among several others. Several approaches have been developed for contrast enhancement of medical images, each of them with varying degrees of shortcomings. And some of these shortcomings include over enhancement of those images, edge degradation, lost pixels, and most times this method being used, some of them preserve brightness. And because of some of these challenges, it has necessitated the development of a binodal techniques, and these techniques combine contrast-limited adaptive histogram equalization, known as CLAE, and fuzzy logic methods together to combat these shortcomings. This is a good example of a medical image. The one on the left-hand side is a medical image taken, and when we look at it, we can see that it is not very clear, even to some of us who are not clinicians, talk less of people who are clinicians, and there is need for us to enhance that image. After enhancement of that image, we can see what we have on the right-hand side. I'm sure that most of us seated here, when we look at the image on the right-hand side, we can see clearly better than the one on the left-hand side. And that's the effect of an image enhancement on this initial image. The statement of the problem. Several techniques have been developed to enhance medical images, but none of them have met the full demand of medical image enhancement. The fundamental disadvantage of most of these studies is that they produce high-quality image at the cost of information loss due to over-enhancement. Imaging techniques used in the medical field occasionally yield images with overlapping gray level intensities, a high level of noise, poor contrast at times. Sometimes artifacts are introduced, and these lower the quality of the acquired image or conceal the image details, which introduces flaws in the clinical choice in the identification, diagnosis, and treatment of anomalies. The aforementioned challenges necessitated the development of these biomodal techniques, which combines CLAE and fuzzy logic to meet the demand for medical image enhancement. The aim of this work is to develop a bimodal technique for medical image contrast enhancement. And the specific objectives: 1, to develop a bimodal algorithm suitable for contrast enhancement of medical images. 2, to evaluate the performance of this hybrid technique using standard image processing performance metrics. And the third one is to compare the developed hybrid method with 3 existing image enhancement methods. Several literatures were consulted in the course of these studies, and I will just run through them. We have this, and some of the literatures consulted. We consulted the one that made use of CLAE and even fuzzy logic and other methods to see and identify research gap, various research gaps. We have these two. Because of our time, we also have this. And after this review has been done, there are several research gaps that were identified that necessitated this work. 1, in some of these studies, we discovered that even when image enhancements were done, there are artifacts at times that are introduced into this enhanced image. Artifacts in the sense that there are some components that are not in the original image, but after they have been enhanced, artifacts, some components were introduced which were not part of the original image, which may lead to wrong interpretation of that image. At times we have pixel loss. When we have over-enhancement of medical images, it can lead to pixel loss. We have edge degradation of the enhanced image. Sometimes we have techniques that, although they enhanced properly and adequately, but we have more execution time. Another one is that we have some enhancement techniques that they cannot be used to enhance all types of medical images. Like the MRI, some are suitable for MRI, some are suitable for CT scan, some are suitable for X-ray. But we don't have a particular image enhancement techniques that works for all the types of images that we have. And these are the research gaps that we looked into that led us into these techniques to see if some or all of these gaps can be combated. The methodology. In this work, we made use of MATLAB software and version 2022. Medical images that were used for this study were sourced from public image database. And for CLAE method, CLAE is used for, I have said CLAE is contrast limited adaptive histogram equalization. Low contrast photos or images were used, are always used, are the ones that we use clay to enhance. When we have images that the contrast is so poor and we want to improve on the contrast, we use clay method. It uses histogram equalization to arrange the brightness value of the image after computing histograms that correspond to specific region of the image. And clay divides the image into a number of non-overlapping sections of comparable size, and histogram equalization is applied to each one. And for fuzzy interference, we have fuzzy interference. This is the block diagram of fuzzy interference technique. Because of our time, I don't want to bore us. Now, the methodology we used in this technique is to make the output of the clay method to serve as the input into the fuzzy enhancement method. We first of all do the enhancement using clay, and after then we subject the output of, because we know that clay, after using clay, there will be some level of noise in that enhanced image. It's not a perfect system. So the enhanced image will now be an input into the fuzzy interference system, so that fuzzy can also do a level of enhancement on that image, and at the output we have the enhanced medical image, which after we now compare with existing methods to see if the enhanced image is even better than some other method. And this is the flow chart of the Bermuda enhancement method, which I have summarily explained in the previous slide. The result of this technique, we use 3 performance metrics to check if the enhanced image is better, if this technique is even better than previous techniques. And some of the performance metrics we use is the peak signal to noise ratio, PSNR, the entropy, and the execution time. The higher the PSNR, the higher the entropy, the better the techniques. And of course, we know the execution time, the lower the time, the better. This is some of the images we got from the public database. We have images of MRI images. We have some from the X-ray and some from the CT scan. We used 4 different images for each of the techniques. 4 images from MRI, 4 for CT scan, and 4 for X-ray. We have images of the lower abdomen. We have images of the femur. And the last one on the right-hand side is the enhanced image using the bimodal technique. The first one is the enhanced image using the clay method. We use clay. The second one is using the logarithm transformation technique. And the third one is...
Dr. Abolaji, you have 5 more minutes.
All right, so we have these varieties of the enhancement techniques and the outputs. This is for MRI. This one is for X-ray. And this is for CT scan. And we have the output from all of these enhancement techniques. Now, not only looking at the image, what I feel like is good might not be good to you, but objectively, we look at the value that we have from the performance matrix. And these are the values we have from the performance matrix. For the first image, that's the CT scan, which is the human brain. We can see that the clay method has the highest entropy value and the least execution time. But improved UC has the highest signal to noise ratio. When we look at the ones that have the highest are in bold, and this is for CT scan, this is for X-ray, this is for X-ray, and also this is for MRI images. Now, we have some of those techniques that we have some of them that they stagger. When we have bimodal that perform better for some images, they might not perform best for another image. But we can see from the evaluation result that using MRI scan images present mixed outcome, indicating that no single method consistently outperforms other across all metrics. However, the proposed hybrid classic method shows comparable results to other techniques. When it doesn't perform, when it performs better in the PNSR and also in entropy, it might not perform in its execution time. But when we look at the execution time, we discover that it might just be few seconds, the difference may just be few seconds. And when we look at a particular techniques that use maybe 5 seconds, and we combine 2 techniques and we are using 5.5 seconds, we can see that the execution time can be adjudged to be better, because combining 2 techniques and giving us an interval of 5 milliseconds is still adjudged to be to perform better. Not only do we do this, we also try to do subjective evaluation. Subjective evaluation is that we assemble 10 clinicians to now give them this output after the images have been enhanced. We gave them this output to pick independently. They were not given at the same time. The clinicians, the nurses, and the doctors, okay, you have this message, can you pick which one you prefer? And for X-ray 1, the first image I showed to you, 1 person picked Clay, 3 persons picked the improved FUSI, and for our own hybrid method, 6 persons picked the classic method, and we have the percentage, 56.67% chose this hybrid method, and we have the percentages for other methods, which indicates that these are people that assess enhanced images, and they have chosen this Clay FUSI method to be to be the best out of the 4 techniques that were presented before them. We conclude that saying that the hybrid classy method for contrast enhancement of medical images were developed, tested, and found to be suitable and adaptable for grayscale images. Results of the evaluation using test images drawn from X-ray, CT scan, and MRI images shows that it is suitable and adaptable technique for contrast enhancement of varieties of medical images, having satisfactorily yielded optimum results in terms of PSNR, entropy, and execution time. Based on these findings, the proposed method can be safely adapted for enhancement of different types of medical images, image contrast with satisfactory results for all types of images, something which was lacking in some other methods. And these are some of the selected references for this work. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abolaji. So we are going to have 10 minutes for comments, questions, and answers. We are going to give opportunity to everyone. Most especially, we have students from the university here. There are those sitting by my left-hand side. So it's also a very good opportunity for them to, start getting experience in some of this research work and probably develop interest in a particular area from maybe what they will see or what they will hear today. So I don't know anybody you can simply raise your hand, anyone that has a comment, maybe or a question to the presenter, so that we can identify you and then also give you the opportunity. It's open to everybody, please.
Okay, I have a question.
All right. Okay.
Thank you, Presenter. I need to thank you for your efforts you put in. Let me just go straight. Will it be right for you to class your research under nuclear medicine?
Can I answer, sir?
Will it be right for me to class your research or you under nuclear medicine?
Okay, he said, will it be right for you to classify your work under nuclear medicine? So you just hold on, don't respond immediately. We'll have 2 more questions, so just take note, and then you respond. Okay, we have Engineer Olusodu.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Pipi. I just want to add to that. My own question would be, will it therefore also be right to say it is under biomedical engineering?
That is noted. One more question. All right. I think my first, anyway, let's give opportunity to the man behind you, sir. We'll come back to you, sir.
Good afternoon, all. Good afternoon, presenter. Thank you for your presentation. You have done well. My question is that you made use of some data collected, original data collected somewhere, and perhaps if you look at what you have done, is as if you should have a training data. And if you look at it, what you have used there is so small to be judged to be quality data for you to be used for the work that you have done. Because if you look at the data, it's very small. If you are going to be trained the data, I think you should have a reasonable number for the data collection, and then part of it to be for the testing. And we have not seen, and we have not seen that in your work. So I don't know how you can correct that, and so that we were talking about our Deputy President talked about the quality of data here, the integrity of data. I was trying to ask, how are we going to rate your data? Because if we are going to talk about quality of data, then we don't know where do you get the data, and we have not subjected your work to plagiarism test. So how are we going to, for one, assess these data that we're using here, whether they are actually to be given that kind of integrity? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We have, we'll go to the online participants. The chair of this session, Engineer John Funsho, has a comment. But before then, please, anybody that stands to make a comment or ask a question, would appreciate if you can introduce yourself, because we are taking record of, all the proceedings. So let's get the introductions before we hand over to Engineer John Funsho from the online platform to make his
My
comment.
name is Engineer Dr. Roy Atsi.
No, you sir.
Oh, introduce myself.
Yes, sir.
Engineer Gracious Omaseye, past president.
Thank you, sir. Engineer Olusodu.
Engineer Bayo Olushodo, Vice President, Embedded Systems and Emerging
All right,
Technologies.
thank you very much. We know you, but we want others to also know you. So that's the essence of the introduction. So onto the online platform, the chair of the forum, Engineer John Funsho, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. And still standing on the existing, already established protocol, past presidents in the House and members. So I'm a past national president. Seniors and elders are there. So I just have 3 comments for the presenter. To me, it's just like an idea. Verify it. So, but if the speaker can give some evidence like the last speaker said, then my question is, can this technology be used elsewhere? Security, transport, and surveillance. Then what is the last mile device where the MATLAB was operated? And can we use any other easily downloadable open software to achieve this MATLAB? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think we'll hand over to you to respond to these questions. We still have some other questions. The past president, and we are running out of time. We also have one from the rapporteur, and then also get some questions from the students. So please go ahead and respond to the questions that have been raised so far.
Thank you very much for those questions. The first one if this work can be classified under nuclear medicine, I would rather say that it is most suited as biomedical engineering. Biomedical engineering is and I call it a new baby that if an electrical engineer can fit in well in biomedical engineering, a mechanical engineer, and an electronic engineer can feature. So it's more of biomedical engineering than nuclear medicine. So I would rather classify it as a work under biomedical engineering than nuclear medicine. An electrical engineer can also provide solution to issues in medicine, and that is why we come up with biomedical engineering. The other one is the issue of training data sets. If we don't have, the work does not show that we have trained the algorithm with some level of data and testing. I will say that this work is not an approach using machine learning. It is a machine learning that we train. That's where we require a high volume of data sets, where we use some percentage to train and some percentage to test. We are not using machine learning algorithm here. It is just the normal Nieee. Nieee is not, histogram equalization is not a machine learning algorithm. FUSI2 is not a machine learning algorithm. It is just a logical set that we use. Although, after this, there is also an ongoing work by the grace of God in Osogbo. Next year, I'll still present a work where we use machine learning algorithm for this work, so that we compare machine learning and also what we have done here. By the grace of God in Osogbo, we present that. So it's not based on machine learning. It is just the conventional Nieee and fuzzy logic. The other one, if patient data should be kept, the issue of data integrity. Like I said, there are public database online. Not only in Nigeria, we have across the world where people have access to public database. And I have declared it here that the images used for this work were sourced from public database. We all know that when you go to hospitals, you cannot just go and access people's images. Confidentiality is very important. Doctors will not even release data of patients to you. That's why when you develop a machine that you want to use on human being, you cannot just go and test it on human being without getting clerical
We don't have
approval.
much time. Sorry, and so we're going to have the last set of questions, and we're going to make it snappy. So, my past president, sir. 1 minute, sir.
I think this is a highly practical, in my opinion, highly practical subject that I want to find out whether you have done a sort of collaboration with some of the teaching hospitals to be able to properly, get synergy. You need synergy for this thing to succeed with doctors working in the hospital, which I would, want to find out whether you have done, or encourage you to do if you have not done so. Thank you.
All right.
Engineer Emmanuel Akinwole, past president.
All right, thank you. One of the rapporteurs has a question also.
No, not UCH. But probably I should just use this opportunity to,
You just note it when you come to your response or later on. Okay, please go ahead.
Okay.
All right, sir.
I am Engineer Halima Yakubu, a lecturer here at Nieee University, Department of Electrical Electronics Engineering. First of all, thank you so much, Doc, for your presentation. In terms of the visual aid and the delivery, I'm sure my students here can appreciate how straightforward it was. If they were actually paying attention, it would have been very easy for them to grasp the concepts that you presented here. So my question is, if I may refer to the test figures, the test images, sorry, that you presented, where you compared Clahe, LT, and CLASI. So to the untrained eye, like mine, it looked as though the Clahe image was clearer than that of CLASI. So if you could please explain to us, what are those things on the images that we should be looking out for to show that the CLASI image is actually a better quality image than Clahe? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we want the students to also ask questions. So we'll give room to 2 students to please ask questions.
Good afternoon. I just want to know...
Sorry, introduce yourself, your name.
Yes, my name is Umar Usman Mohammed. I'm an electrical and electronics engineering student, 400 level. I just want to know the method you used. Has it been previously used? And if not, what was your innovation? And also, a speaker mentioned the data you used was too small. You made mention that users of image processing chose your method as, the preferred method. I don't think we understand the source of, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So one more question, and then we are done with this session. Then we'll give the presenter, Is there anybody from online? Okay, I guess maybe not. So, okay, fine. All right.
Good afternoon. My name is Akintuni Abdurrahman. I'm a 400 level student of electrical engineering department. Also, my question is, I noticed that the purpose of this is for clearer image processing to have better images, but what I want to understand is like the old images, what was the parameter? Like, what are we trying to solve basically? Like, is this seeing smaller, maybe micro injuries or things of that nature? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Dr. Abolaji, back to you. Kindly respond to this last set of questions, if you can, in 3 to 4 minutes, please.
All right, thank you very much. The first question, we have collaborated with some hospitals. Like I said, we assembled 10 clinicians, and we went to them with these techniques, and asked them to, after the enhancement, using the 3 other techniques, we enhanced with our own technique too, and we gave it to them. We did not tell them which technique each of them was used, which technique each of them was used to enhance each of them. We just gave them 4 different images and asked them to pick which one they would prefer as a technician. And that was how we came about that table. Like 56.67% chose this biomodal technique that they prefer when it gave them a better enhanced image for their work. So we have, the hospital we went to was UCH, because my school is First Technical University, Ibadan. So we went to UCH, Ibadan, and we consulted 5 doctors. We have the radiologists too. So we have 10 of them. That was what gave us that percentage. So we are still working with them because our students also go there for some practical exposure. The things that we look out for, like I said when I was presenting, when we look at images physically, the image I would prefer might be different from the one you would prefer based on what we do, but we don't know what medical doctors or practitioners, what they look out for in this image. So as an individual, we might pick this one and it might not be properly enhanced image. But what will tell us the better image is when we test them with the required performance metrics, the entropy, the signal-to-noise ratio, and also the execution time. That is the standard performance matrix. An image may appear beautiful to us, but might have some level of artifact or noise in them. So what will tell us that the image perform better is, are those performance metrics, not mere looking at them. The method used, Maybe I didn't put that one properly, but the last person asked that, what are we trying to do when we look at that image? What we are looking at is the original image has poor contrast, like the one I showed when I was presenting on the introduction, has poor contrast that you can hardly see anything. When you have such image, there are instances where people would take X-ray images and the doctor will ask them to go and take again because the image is not clear. But we can subject those images to enhancement techniques, which will bring out the hidden details in those images, and you will not have to go and retake the X-ray again. That is the essence of this work, enhancing medical images so that those hidden features that are used in medical diagnosis can come forth. I think the issue of database, I've explained that it is not a machine learning work that we use more images. This one, we are just testing these enhancement techniques. The one that we will use machine learning, by the grace of God, will be presented soon. Or even when you go online, just search for my name, you see some work that we have done that we use machine learning algorithm.
Thank you very much. Dr. Abolaji, we appreciate you. Thank you for your presentation. Personally, I believe it was a good one. And, but of course, our assessors are doing their work. So thank you very much. You may kindly step down. Thank you. So we are moving to the next paper. Development of hands-off algorithm for reduction of drop calls in GSM network. Development of hands-off algorithm for reduction of drop calls in GSM network. Engineer Spencer Itive. Are you here? Yes. All right, thank you. Is your presentation with them? Yes. Okay. Multimedia team, kindly project the presentation. My Deputy President, I don't know how you have, but I think for each paper, you are giving them a different sheet. So, no, but you don't have to collect this right now. Maybe at the end of the session, you collect all the three. Okay, fine. Please, the assessors should kindly indicate the title and, yes. Kindly do that, and then you'll be issued with another form for the next paper to be assessed. All right, we are going to start. So, Engineer Spencer Itive,
sir,
over to you.
Okay. This permits me to stand on the existing protocol. My name is Engineer Spencer.
Sorry, I have not told you the time you have. You have 15 minutes, and then we have 5 to 10 minutes for questions and answers and comments. Thank you.
Okay. Please permit me to stand on the existing protocol. My name is Engineer Spencer Itive. My paper is on development of a handoff algorithm for reduction of drop costs in GSM networks. Okay. Okay, so drop calls are calls that are prematurely terminated. They affect subscribers directly and is a key quality of service indicator which the NCC uses. Previous work has shown that the drop call rate is the poorest performing metrics in the country. The quality of service with respect to drop call of MNOs in this country is very, very unsatisfactory. MNOs means mobile network operators. So this is the reason why NCC set up a benchmark, a KPI, for their measurements. Sorry about that. Statement of the problem. Mobile subscribers are increasing on a daily basis. This is what we know. And that we call for capacity enhancement of mobile network services. Inherently, this creates mobility management problem because the corresponding demand of handoff requests, of which is not properly and efficiently implemented. If it's not properly and efficiently implemented, may lead to degradation of quality of service. Drop calls is one of the most common customers' complaint. On a daily basis, this is what we experience as we do make calls. We also understand that drop calls, among other reasons, is due to handoff failures. There are so many reasons that result in drop calls. But here, we are using handoff failures. The quality of service with respect to drop call in Nigeria, which I have said before, cannot be relied on. And this has been a problem to every one of us. In fact, everyone in the ecosystem. Drop calls are major concern for operators. The objective of the study. They are just basically four. To evaluate the performance of MNOs in Nigeria, to develop a hybrid handoff algorithm for the reduction of drop calls, and to analyze the performance of the hybridized handoff algorithm, and to compare the simulated results of the hybridized algorithm with that of the existing MNOs. The scope. In doing this work, we actually focus on the performance evaluation of some cells in the Niger Delta region. About 18 of them were selected, one MSc and one BSc. And some parameters were considered: the handoff success rates, handoff failure rates, drop call, handoff dropping probability, drop call rates, drop calls probability. In this work, handoff techniques was now developed into a dynamic cursor priority algorithm, which we programmed into a microprocessor to reduce drop call. Our work here is to try to contribute to solving the problem of drop calls. This is the overview of the handoff scheme. Here we have the non-prioritized scheme and the prioritized scheme. The non-prioritized scheme, of course, we know does not give priority. First call, anyone that comes, all the calls that come, whether originating calls or new calls or handoff calls, is taken based on first come, first serve. But for the prioritized, handoff calls are prioritized. These are some of the causes that lead to drop calls. Here we have poor network coverage, poor network overload, interference, and so on and so forth. These are the literature review that we looked at during this work. This you can easily go through them because of time. So we just pick just 5 of them in this work. Then methodology, step-by-step methodology. One, to evaluate the performance of MNOs in Nigeria. Now that is objective number 1, which I had mentioned before. To evaluate the performance of MNOs, mobile network operators in Nigeria. And in doing that, what did we do? We collected data from cellular, OIMC, and NCC. And in collecting that data, we focus on handoff process and drop calls. Now, actually, there was already a report already by REST that among the MNOs, the drop call rate of Globalcom is the best. So we really do not need to do more work again. So we leverage on that. It's already in the public domain already. So we use the drop call rate of Globalcom in this work. So after that, what we do, we collected data from the MNOs, that the existing MNOs, which we later compare with data available from NCC. So the NCC already have the KPIs already, the benchmark, which they use in trying to control as a benchmark for all the MNOs in order to improve their costs. Okay, so number 2 is to develop a hybrid handoff algorithm for the reduction of drop costs. Now, in doing this, what do? We brought together two algorithms which we hybridize: the ECA, the entire channel allocation, and the FCA, fee channel allocation. And as we do that, we already put into consideration the MROCE, that is a modified reserve channel scheme with gas channel, and the fusing handoff initiation method. So these are what we use in creating our own algorithm. And also, we use also a software, 2 software, which we crack together. The NetBean 7.2 and Octave 5.1. So we crack the NetBean into the Octave, and that is the operating system that the software that we use for this work. Then after that, the program was test run for about 1,200 seconds, repeatedly. This is a handoff cutoff priority model description. So from that model, you see the model there. Please, for that handoff course, it's supposed to be from the beginning. Both of them actually started from the beginning. Start from the beginning. Then the originating course. In this work, I will try to use the originating course and new course interchangeably. So this is the model description. From 1 to B. So B there is the entire channel allocation, the entire. B is the total. While BO is the open channel. Then we also have the gas channel as well. So from this description, some maybe about 168 channels was allocated to this work. Now, out of 168 channels allocated, 10 is allocated to handoff calls. Then 158 is for the originating course. Gas channels are dynamically altered. So from here we have this equation: the handoff drop probability, which is less than or equal to upper limits, that is the threshold, and the lower limit, that is the upper limit and the downward limit. And we try to choose this value between 0 and 1, so as enable us try to keep our handoff dropping probability below a given threshold. So this is the flow chart. So if you look at it, that's the flow chart we created from the beginning, that is to the end. So this is what we use to develop our algorithm. So these are our results. Now, this is the nine cells. Now, initially I said 18 cells. We averaged them to 9 so that we get better results. So 18 cells, which we averaged to 9. So even that 9, we try to even average again. So from here, you get this data. These data you are seeing here, they are not our data. These are the MNOs, the existing MNOs. We got this one from the MNOs. Fine. Let me touch something here. Sorry. Let me just quickly touch one. Sorry. Okay, from this data, you will see that the DCRO.
Engineer Spencer, you have 5 more minutes.
Okay, thank you. From this one, you had the DCRO is just 14.4%. Then the handoff drop probability is 0.05%. This is a graph. So from this graph, you will discover that, look at 2 there, none of the parameter from the existing network is actually obeying NCC recommendation of less than or equal to 2%, which we are going to see. The KPI, we'll still see them. Now, this is our own value. These values are gotten from our simulation. We got this value from our simulation. Now, from here, you see our own DCR here is 6.2. So there's a difference between 10 and 6.2, which we have got. Then the handoff blocking probability is now 0.03. So you also notice some improvement there from our value. So this is our graph. From this graph, you see that 3 cells are actually what? Obeying that NCC what? NCC recommendation. So we have here, this is another one again. This is a comparison between our simulated work and the existing MNOs. So look at both of them there. You have 10.4, you have 6.2. So this is the graph for both, the one I have said and earlier announced. So this is also what? This is a graph. You see this one now. The graph for the simulation is almost linear, apart from the spike, is almost linear, as compared to the existing DCRO. Now this is the general NCC KPI, general one. You see the core setup ratio there. You see the drop coverage there, which is supposed to be less than or equal to 2%. The MNO is 10%. We have 6%, and so on and so forth. So the one block probability is 0.5 and 0.3%. So conclusion, we see that the NCC KPI for drop call rate is less than or equal to 2%. The existing value from the cellular network, which MNO, is 10%. And our simulation DCRO is 6%, which simply means that drop cost here has been reduced by 40%. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So, like I mentioned earlier, we have 5 to 10 minutes for comments, questions, and answers. But I would like to start, this time around, I want to also make a comment and ask a question. First of all, what I want to know, you are trying to address drop calls. Now, you've not mentioned anything about neighbor list. I don't know whether you factored that, and whether the data that you got, is it a 3G network data or a 4G network? Because depending on the networks, they have different approaches to treating, handoff. You understand? That's key. And even depending on the equipment manufacturer, Huawei, if you are dealing with Huawei equipment or Ericsson, they all have different approaches. The last slide, which was your conclusion, you talked about your simulation. So what I want to find out, you gave the figure, what you got from that's Glow in this case, then what the NCC stuff, and what your simulation gave you. So that your simulation, an algorithm, or what exactly, have you achieved? That's very, very key and fundamental. So just take note of that. We'll have, just like we did in the previous paper, we'll have questions from the floor, and then we'll now get back to you to respond. So please, any comment or question? All right, Engineer Rabiu, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So, okay, 5, 6.
Okay, good afternoon. Go to say Raza, good evening. My name is Engineer Rabiu Haruna. I appreciate your presentation. You speak on the call drop. Make your reference with one of the service providers. And there are, I think, 3 or 4 other service providers who categorize them as MNO. And then on your comparative data from the particular service provider that you pick, Glow in this case, and your simulation, I think it's limited to that service provider and your simulation. And the other service providers, you keep saying MNO. Make a reference to some of the data you obtain from NCC. And I think from the table, there's a need to shed more light and present more on what the other service providers, or what their failure rate is, as compared to your simulation, and what is obtained from the glue, so that we can be able to come up to address, say, this is the service provider that provide the best, or to say rather at the least cost drop, because in this case, the lower cost drop, the better, if I'm right, isn't it?
Yes.
Thank you. I hope you got my question.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Number 2. Oh.
Thank you. My name is Engineer Oshoba. My question regarding the causes of the drop course, please, I want you to further expatiate more on these causes, because when I first came back to Nigeria in 2012, you know, the mobile operators, they had, you know, rugged equipment, mostly from Sweden. But these days, most of them are from China. I'm not trying to single out China, but most of them are from China. Could that be some of the causes of this drop costs? Secondly, if you look at these drop costs, you will notice that most of these numbers that are 091, 070s, you get a lot of issues with all these, you know, numbers versus those initial numbers like 080, 081, the normal MTN, Airtel, and all that. And just as the last speaker said that you singled out Globalcom, while you called the others, you know, a common name to them. Now, if Globalcom was used, why not present the others, what you did with them, so that we can understand where some of this, because we are all engineers, we are meant to provide solutions. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 3.
Thank you, sir, for the presentation. In the course of the title of the presentation, you said you want to develop algorithm. But in the course of the lecture, you did not tell us the machine learning method you use in developing the algorithm. That is one. Then 2, you did not show us the equation of the algorithm developed. We do not know how you got the algorithm. Then the solution, you need to let us know what and what will be done in order to maintain the low drop curve. My name is Engineer Folorunso Samuel from Akure chapter. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll take the 4th one, then we'll get back to you. We still have a question from the president and one other person. So the 4th person, okay, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Engineer Spencer. I'm Engineer Otebo Innocent. From your presentation, NCC's values equals or less than 2, but at the end of your algorithm, I'm seeing 6%. So, yes, you said it's 40% increase, but is it a work in progress, or what's your plan, or what's your priority to ensure you meet to NCC rate? Then, the menace of drop calls is an issue, and I don't know whether it's not part of your scope to see how that menace can maximally be touched. And vis-a-vis, I don't know where NIEE can come into to partner, and also to reach out to the necessary MNOs or whatever to ensure that the common man, because most drop calls that happens, the common man pay for it, and it's a general issue. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So back to you, Spencer.
Thank you, sir. So many questions. Because I understand that we're actually having a problem with drop calls. So it's not actually strange. And the first question here is on the technology that we use, if it's 3G, 2G, or 4G. Actually, this work, we actually use 2 and 3G, so I experiment on that. So And the idea is that we are still working on this. Is not a final work. The work I said, reduction, not elimination. So we managed to reduce it by a certain percentage, which is 40%. So that is what we did. So there is also room for further work as well. And we also know, I think my supervisor told me, that we are still working on this in our next project work. So we have not finalized. But as for this, we had only achieved 40% reduction from 10% to about 6%, so of the DCRO. So that is what we use. Then the MNOs, actually, because of time, I couldn't have mentioned all the service operators. We have MTN, we have Globacom, we have Airtel, we have Smile, and so on and so forth. So, but the MNO, which is mobile network operator, is the general name for all of them, including Globacom. So when I actually refer to MNOs, I could also say operator, I could also say operator. I could also say service provider. They are all the same thing. So I just use that. And why do I have to measure Globacom? I know sometimes most people actually would not like this. Initially, it's a problem we had when we're doing this work. Because if you come out to mention Globacom, it will be causing a problem for people who are working on that service. As people, when I was doing this work, I was actually not really working with Globacom. So I was a telecom at that time, but I had to be very careful with it. But we see this research. REST has said that the DCRO, among all the MNOs, Globacom seems to have the best. So our own is we need something we can leverage on, and that's why we pick Globacom. We are not saying there could be other parameters that other MNOs are better, but as far as DCRO is concerned, which we use, Globacom was better. And also in trying to reduce drop call, other persons could also come and use other KPI as well. But here we use DCRO and hand-off dropping probability. So you can come and use other ones as well. So that is just for that. So the MNO is not a way of belittling other operators. It's not. But because of time, so there's no I could start measuring them one after another. Then the causes of drop calls, which I had mentioned before. There are so many causes of drop calls, but we only choose one. In my presentation, I said there are so many, but handoff failure is one of them. And because our work is tailored towards handoff failure, that's why we pick handoff. We pick handoff failure. I have said here that power issue is one of the problem of drop call. Your flat battery is reason as well. Poor network availability or poor network coverage is an issue. Interference is an issue. Software problem is an issue, and so on and so forth. These are several issues that can cause drop calls. But here we tend to focus on handoff, the one that is caused by handoff. Why? Because handoff, among all the causes of a drop call, is very annoying. What does it mean? What do I mean? If you are making up with somebody and the call just drops suddenly.
Sorry, Engineer Spencer, we don't have much time, so
okay,
I appreciate.
Okay, let me go straight. Thank you, sir. So that is the reason. Then that is okay, fine. That is the reason about that. Then solutions and equations of the algorithm. Think solutions and equations of the algorithm. There are actually solutions. I have solutions in the document that I provided, but I was working at the time to see what can be done, though I should have put some here. So I want to apologize on that. There are actually solutions on that. There are equations on that. The two algorithms that we use, there are equations which we hybridize, but we didn't use machine learning to develop. And so we use our own hybridized equations, hybridized algorithm to get our own algorithm. Then, okay, fine. That is all, sir. Thank you.
Okay. The President, sir.
Yes, I'm Engineer Felix Olu. My own question is, actually your research was done within the Niger Delta environment. Can you let us know why you restricted it to Niger Delta, or is there a specific goal that you want to achieve by picking various areas in particular? Thank you.
All right. The last person before.
Good afternoon once again. My name is Engineer Dr. Roy Atse. Sir, the essence of we coming together and in academics is for us to have, if you are working, then you get contribution to knowledge. It's a key thing. And the doctor had made a remark there. You started this work, and for us, if you just get a data, just like you have gotten from NCC, and then passing it through a simulator, a software, to get a result out, it is not your work. You have not done much to it, because you have not added any value to that which you have done. And here we ask for the equation, because if those equations were there, I would have been able to see how you manipulated this equation to get where you are. Now, as it stands, it's like that what you have used here is what somebody else have done. Is it not? So, we have not seen any new thing in what you have done. Now you have said that you have developed a model. That model, for us to be satisfied with that model, now you have used a Globalcom as a case study. Why not test that model to another network so that we'll be able to see how this your model has worked, whether it's has worked well or not? We have just concluded your work on Globalcom. How about that? That your model did not work well on MTN or AT or Etisalat. How can you conclude this?
All right, thank you very much. We have a question from the online participants. I think the chair, Engineer John Funsho, has a question. So the multimedia team, sorry, we'll come to you, please. We still have one person here, so two of you. Yeah, okay. Any other person, apart from apart from you, I've noted you, among the students. All right, okay, fine. Over to the online multimedia team, please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Please confirm you can hear me.
Hear you, Engineer.
So the only question, well done, the presenter, and for intelligent questions asked so far. The only question I have is what infrastructure device or simulation software would you recommend to the mobile network operators or the original equipment manufacturers to solve the drop cost issues? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, all right. No, before we come, we have, go ahead, please. You are next.
All right, thank you, Chair, colleagues. My name is Professor John Paul Ilo. The presenter, thank you for addressing the topic, but I have a very simple and straightforward question for you. I think in your topic, handoff is a key word in what you presented. You said you were to develop a handoff algorithm. So reduction of call drop is just an outcome of the handoff algorithm you developed. And I think all you have said here, I didn't hear you explain exactly what handoff is. You know, we have students here, and they are building on the knowledge they are getting. So I would like to know exactly, in simple, straightforward terms, what is handoff, even before we try to develop an algorithm, a handoff algorithm that we can use to reduce core drops. Then, finally, I want to, you see, there's a challenge we have in engineering training now. At some point, we saw simulation as one big thing that we can use to solve problems. Yes, they help us. You go to do simulation to appreciate how this thing, will be in reality. Simulation is just mimicking the system. And this, has become a challenge. The students will come, do undergraduate, do postgraduate, get PhDs. But they cannot appreciate simple, practical reality. So I want to ask, in reality, how can you deploy this algorithm? I want to say it. I no longer approve, simulation projects, except only when we cannot have a practical alternative, because it is destroying that practical aspect of engineering learning. So I want to know, how can we apply this, your solution, in practical terms? Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. That's a very, very valid question. So go up.
Engineer Bundeme Ike is my name. Though that my question I have has been almost asked by our prof. But what I'm saying in essence is that when you are doing your handoff, when you are lecturing, you made mention of some root causes of those handoffs. But mine is that Prof have asked you in terms of practicality. It is a peculiar problem to the nation that customers are suffering because of the handoff and because of the drop costs. And from your algorithms, I prefer and I believe in practicality, that I'm a customer, I'm living in a place, and I found out that whenever I make calls, it drops. You said it might be an interference, it might be a lot of issues. With your algorithm, will it work for me that once you enact it, I'll make call, it will not drop? That's the practicality of it. Because most Nigerians are suffering, and they are eating our money any day, anytime. So please, and please, a handoff which you have illustrated to us, and the algorithm that gave us a 40% deduction, does it solve my problem? No, it does not solve my problem. Thank you.
Thank you. So the student, all right, we'll come to you after the student, but that will be, you will be the last,
Sorry. Good afternoon. My name is Abdul Alim Shekoni Afolabi, and I'm very grateful for the presentation that you just finished concluding. So what my question was it's actually similar to what the professor and what the former engineer has just said, that the case study that you brought of Globalcom was from a realistic approach and were supposed to be suitable data that you use for the evaluation, and for the problem that you solved after using the algorithm, it was a simulated result. So it's kind of like comparing the simulated results, like expected results, against a realistic problem that we are actually facing. So I wanted to know how much or how well this situation would have been curbed if your own implementation is put into like reality. Let's, for example, see how it will actually work in real life. Thank you.
So you see, sometimes if you have this kind of activity, the number of questions that are raised indicates, the quality of what we are doing. So I think for all of us here, the presenters and the listeners, it's a good thing if people are asking questions. So we have, initially I said the last question, but unfortunately, I just realized he has been raising his hand. Yeah. So he will be the last question before doctor here, comes in.
Thank you very much. My name is Engineer Awal Abdullahi. I work with the NCC. In fact, I'm In fact, I am the head of quality of service of the NCC. Unfortunately, I was answering phone outside. Somebody drew my attention to this very important presentation that he's making that has to do with the job that I do every day. Unfortunately, as I come, he has finished the presentation with just questions. So I will not do justice for him for countering what he has said. But I'm surprised and shocked when he told me that he found out that among the Globacom drug call has the best listen. Well, I am not challenging you, but I would like to have engagement with you after the conference so that I will know how you get your data and how you arrive at the fact that Globacom is a better service. I'm not demarketing Globacom. Yeah. But I want to say finally that issue of drop call has gone beyond technicalities that you have just done. What we see every day, what we manage, it has gone beyond technical, as the professor rightly said. All those simulations that you have said, we have done that. It has proved wrong to what we have listened. So I want to have an engagement with you after, so that we will understand and be on the same listen. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. So one of the rapporteurs has a comment to make.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. My name is Dr. Sholi Olusegun. Honestly speaking, I think what everybody has been talking about, I think is absolutely very germane. But we have to definitely note something, that research and development. So when we talk of research, something that somebody can go ahead and probably do a research, develop some models, get some algorithms that will solve a particular problem, right? But then the implementation of this algorithm or the solution you just got in is going to be another thing entirely. So definitely we cannot stop. The students, you have to look at that. You have to start thinking about that. There's no way you will run away from other simulation or something. When you get the simulation or something you get like that, but there should be a better way to now compare it to when you implement. I'm coming from Research and Development Agency, and by virtue of the fact that normally people used to say that it's not rocket science. I deal with rocket science. So when I'm talking about research and development, it's absolutely very important. It is true that its simulation may not probably translate to solving your problem now, but that is where a researcher is here, developer is here, maybe those equipment owners, they are there. Those things, whatever you have gotten, will have to be implemented into those equipment. So if there is no kind of synergy among the chain, definitely there's no way, or there's nowhere we can go. The main problem around the country, go and see some of the professors, right? All their researches, they will stack them somewhere. But how do we translate all those things into reality to solve our problems? So I think it's not as if maybe simulation is bad, but then there are so many other things meant for that. And because he has to do his own job. Does he have money to actually even carry out, to move from where he is right now to the other level? He may not have the capability. Now, I'm going to present tomorrow. I have some things that I've already done, whereby I need data, or I need equipment to actually run very high level simulation that I cannot even pay for it. So what do? I just have to make use of the public data that I have. And then now add it to anyway, don't let me do it tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much. So, Engineer Spencer, please, in maybe 3 to 4 minutes, try to respond. But I want you to be, as much as possible, you try to be direct. And all the questions that have been raised, some are just to, prick your conscience. You may not need to respond to them. Maybe it will make you reassess your work further. So just try to attempt answering those that you have ready responses for. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. as I said before, it's a straightforward thing. When I came, I actually expected the volume of questions. And I want to thank our engineer that actually came to really bail me out on that. I was going to say that because he actually he bailed me out. I must explain, I must confess that. Thank you very much. I said that. You see, this work, there's no end to it yet. I said when I started that we have succeeded in reducing this problem. We have not solved it. Now, to solve this problem is that we must have to either must go below NCC KPI, which is less than or equal to 2%. Now, we only got 6. So, but there is an improvement from our research work. Now, which we also still working on. We didn't just bring data from the MNOs and just start working. No, we had the reason for their data is to enable us compare them to our simulation to show if we have improvement. Now, on what basis are we going to compare our simulation results to? So that's what we did. So the data we got from the MNOs, go back on in this case, is the one we compare to our simulation. That was what gave us the edge to know that, okay, we have done something. Though not final, but we are working on it. So we have our own data as well. Then another thing I want to also say is the handoff. They actually mentioned what is handoff. Now, I said, among other things, handoff is one of the problems for drop call. What is handoff? I said that handoff is very annoying. Handoff drop calls is very annoying. For example, if you initiate a call and the call is terminated, it didn't ring, you won't be so angry. But for a call that is already going, you are discussing in the middle of discussion with somebody and it is terminated. That is drop call. Why will it terminate? What got it terminated? That is the one we are looking at. So for a handoff call, is your handoff failure is when you are not able to, when you are on call and the call is supposed to exchange from one BTS to another. For example, you are traveling and you are in that mobility, so your call want to hand over from a particular BTS or cell to another. And he doesn't click, so the call will drop. So that is handoff failure. So that is what I actually wanted to understand.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
So in conclusion, I just have 2 or 3 advices to you.
Okay,
and now this is coming from experience. I was also in the industry. I've worked with the MNO. And this is basically what I did for like 10 years. Every single day I was monitoring drop calls, and everything. If you remember, I asked you questions about neighbor association and everything. Those are things that you normally do. And I also asked whether it was a 2G, 3G, or 4G technology. Now, you see, if you are going to rely on data that you will get, because I'm sure from what you explained, you use data that you go from NCC. Though my senior colleague there has mentioned that you should see him afterwards, so I'm not going to be part of that. So. But you see, I'm being frank. There is something that you see, NCC does, they receive data from the MNOs, and they use it to generate their reports. And I'm sure he will confirm to you, over time, it was realized some of those data is doctored. And he will tell you that. And of course, that was why at some point in time, NCC had to start their own process of gathering this data. So, my advice, if you are going to do this kind of research, there are ways you can gather your data. There is drive test. There are different kinds of drive test approach or system that you can use to generate your own data. This one is not subject to any operator. You do your drive test, you design a route, based on some scheme, and you collect the data within that area. If you like, you can collect the data for all the networks at once. There are equipments that can collect data for 1 network, 2 networks, or even up to 4 networks at the same time, and you can compare them. So these are ways that you can probably adopt and maybe get better quality data that you can own up. This is your own data that you collected. And whatever you are able to come up with, or the result of your work, it's something you can vouch for, not what you picked up from somewhere. Thank you very much. So,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone. This comes to the... Okay, the president said you have not answered his question.
Saba, yes, it's easy because he said I should just vary the question. That is why he said, why did I locate, maybe limit our scope to Niger Delta instead of Nigeria? Yes, this scope. We really need the school where we work, where the research was taken was a Delta FUPRE, Federal University of Petroleum Resources. So they needed a research that would cover that area first. So when we get this, we cannot apply it to the whole nation. So we may not have to, because of the volume of the data. So if we want to take it, try the whole nation, so which state are we going to? So the volume will be too much for us. So we limited it to a particular region. Then from there, we apply to other regions. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you very much. So we have the very last paper for today, an intelligent human presence sensing system for smart room power management. Engineer Dr. Olumide O. Ajayi. Just 5 minutes. It's possible this paper might not take place. So if he's not around, we just. All right. Sorry, I learned the next paper presentation. Okay. The presenter is supposed to present online. Unfortunately, he has connection issues. So that paper will be presented, will be made part of tomorrow's presentation. So thank you very much, everyone, for sparing your time to be here. And we hope and pray that tomorrow you'll come in early and we'll be able to start early so that we don't spend time more than we have today. All right, so the Deputy President is going to make an announcement.
Please, we didn't plan to have plenary session tomorrow, but then we're going to be here on time. We're having two concurrent sessions tomorrow, and tomorrow is really loaded. So we need to be here by 9 a.m. If you come here later than 9 a.m., you'll miss some of the important sessions. Like we're going to have Engineer Akinwole. I'm sorry, I'm going to disturb you. You should be here before 9 as the chairman of that session with Engineer Nwogbo. And then we'll communicate our rapporteurs this night. Smart grid technology development in Nigeria is one of the sessions we're going to have tomorrow. So we're going to have session A. We're going to have the second session. That session B will be here. Session D will take place in the Ubangi building there. That's directly opposite this place, Ubangi building. We have some classrooms there or laboratories that have been given to us. The two, yeah. We are going to have B and D here. No, wait. 9. This is 9 o'clock. Yeah. B and D will go on concurrently. While C and E will be concurrent. That means in that place, in this place, we're going to have B and C, B and C here. B and C will be here, while D and E will be there. Do you understand now? B and C will be here, and then D and E will be there. So but B and D will run concurrently, C and E will run concurrently. So since Normally, this man that missed his own today, we are going to look at when he's going to present it in one of the concurrent sessions. We'll make it be here for. Be here is loaded. Yeah, he will present it during the technical session D, the one that is missed out today. He has to present it during technical session D. So that's what we have for tomorrow. On this note, I want to say thank you very much for the day. Don't forget, there's going to be gala night tonight. Harris Hotel, Wuye. Is it Wuye? Harris Hotel, Wuye. That's in between Olusegun Obasanjo Road and Adolphus Wabara. So any of the, Wabara, okay, Adolphus Wabara. And I know how to pronounce Olusegun Obasanjo very well. So at least I scored 50%. So thank you very much. We'll see you this evening by 7 p.m. My chairman and the co-chairman, thank you very much. Our rapporteurs, Dr. Shuli, we appreciate you. We thank you very much. Madam, thank you very much. God bless you.
Let's have a short
No, I want to make announcements. Okay. I think the boss here around. Hello. Please, those that stay around Harris Hotel, you can hang around here. We have a bus that is made available that can pick some people to that place. If you stay around Harris Hotel, there's a bus that can pick you. Thank you.